The first thing I remember is the game that I love. A man on a diamond with a golden glove. Daddy with me in the cheap seats above saying...
Welcome to the Two Cutoff Men, the podcast dedicated specifically to the Cincinnati Adult Baseball League. I'm Jason Earhart, along Colt 45's first baseman Ray Sterling as we recap the week that was, the week ahead, and all things CABL.
Are you ready? I said, are you ready?
And thanks again for tuning in to the Two Cutoff Men, week number 5. For more information about our league, you can visit our Facebook page by searching Cincinnati Adult Baseball League, and you can check out our league website at www.CincyABL.com. That's Cincy with a Y. You can find stats, standings, rosters, schedules, and all kinds of good stuff on there, including recaps of each and every game that are played. With that, I'd like to welcome in our co-host, who is also the show's executive producer, longtime Cincinnati Colt 45 veteran, the inimitable Ray Sterling. And Ray, welcome from the Rocky Mountains of Colorado.
Hey, how's it going, man?
Glad to be back here on week 5. You are a long way away, my friend.
Yeah, a couple hours behind you here. So it's and a little bit out the west side.
Out to the west side out there in the Rocky Mountains and enjoying, hopefully that thin air isn't getting to you out there.
No, I'm not out doing any running right now, so I think I'm good.
When was the last time you did any running, by the way?
Well, see, I was in high school in 1987, so...
There you go. So not that far away.
Probably then.
Well, Ray, week number 5 of the show, we've had a lot of good feedback. In fact, I believe we've gone into triple digits on listens each and every week. I think the podcast just keeps getting better and better, and we have a lot to get to this week as well.
Yeah, we're going to, especially coming up next week, we're going to have a lot of games to cover. And this week we had the 1 day off, so we'll have a little bit of rundown. But yeah,
absolutely,
we definitely are doing something right because, like we said earlier, it's hit over triple digits now every week. So that's a good sign.
Yeah, so we've had. Last time we talked was right before Memorial Day. We didn't play that Sunday, but since we've last done a podcast, a couple of games have gotten in. We were able to get 7 games in Wednesday night and 10 again this Sunday. So a lot of things have happened over the last week and a half, and in fact, the standings starting to take shape. We'll talk a little bit about that here shortly, but why don't we get into what happened on Wednesday night? We had 3 games rained out. Unfortunately, mine was one of those, Yankees and Hustle. I was told by the school at 11:30 in the morning that the field was not going to be playable. And unfortunately for us, I think by the time 6:30 rolled around, probably was all right. They had called for more rain, but just goes to show you can't trust those weather guys.
Yeah, well, that's kind of what I'm in the middle of right now is dealing with weather guys here with the job I do. So,
well, just remember this, Ray. You can trust the traffic guys, just not those weather guys.
Yeah,
you can't trust those guys at all.
That's it. So
2 other games were banged as well, Ray. The one at Crosley, Mudcats and Flying Tigers, and the Bulls and Hooks, which ironically, you and I both said this is the game of the week, and well, luck would have it that was one of the 3 that were rained out. Go figure, huh?
Yeah, that's how it's going. It seems like we can't catch a break and get a few days without some rain. So hopefully we start getting the normal games in every day and each week. So, but yeah, that's the one I was waiting to see, and it didn't pan out.
Never materialized, but there were 7 games that did get played. We'll go over some of them here. Here was one of the more interesting scores of the night, I thought. Deerfield and the Braves played to a 5-5 tie. They ran out of daylight at 11, and after having played 7 innings, it was a 1-1 game until the 6th inning. Deerfield put a 4 spot on the board, went up 5-1, but the Braves came roaring back. They got a 3-run home run from rookie Tom Ricciardi, and that made it 5-4. They tied the game in the bottom of the 7th, but left the bases loaded, unable to get that winning run in. But, boy, Ray, they always say a tie is like kissing your sister, but, hey, when you're playing a good team like Deerfield, that's not exactly a bad thing coming away, at least with half a win.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one right there. You get in there and get the score tied up. And the Braves turning it around. Haven't we seen the last couple games that they've been the ones giving up their runs? And other teams coming back on them, and now they flipped the script, and they ended up coming back.
Yeah, and holding a good hitting Deerfield team to 5 runs. Scott Sizemore, a longtime veteran, I'm sure you're familiar with from the Dayton League. He's a guy who has pitched a long time in adult leagues, and he held them to 1 run, and it's a pretty good lineup. I can attest to it. That Deerfield team runs out some pretty good bats. So, good job by the Braves getting the tie there. Both managers were on me on Thursday morning. When can we resolve this? Because they were only scheduled to play once. So there is the dilemma for the schedule guy.
Yeah, you're going to have to try to see if you can fit that one in there. So that actually could come down, the way things are going, that could come down to mean something later on. So might be stuck in a hot corner there. You might have to get that there, commish.
Who knows? We'll see what we can do about that one. Another big game that happened involving your team, the Colt 45s and the Suds out at North College Hill. A low-scoring affair out there between your team and the Suds.
Yeah, that was actually a pretty good game. Our guys, we just can't find our bats, but picked them up on Sunday. I know that once we go over that game we see. But I think we only had 3 hits against the Suds that night, and it was a little bit of a nasty field, but it was playable. So anytime you can get out there and play, that's a good thing. But they threw some good stuff at us and put us on hold for a while. So.
Yeah, Daniel Kusakari, one of the candidates, I'd say, for Player of the Week. 3-hit a game against the good Colts lineup. He did a nice job there. And obviously, you guys held the Suds to 3 runs, so something going well on the other end. Kevin Burke, I guess, throwing pretty well for you guys, huh?
Yeah, Kevin, and it doesn't show here. He actually struggled a little bit and was struggling with a little bit of his command, but he fought through it and pitched real well and kept us right there and kept us in the game. And we had a couple of shots at doing something, and we don't do anything with it. So we got to start getting the bats continuously going. That's normally the Colt 45s normally come out hitting, and we didn't hit. So.
Yeah, no, I would say, Ray, with the way your team hits the ball, generally if you hold the other team to 3 runs, pretty good chance the Colts are going to start winning those games once the bats come around. If you can hold the other team, as good of a team as the Suds, to just 3 runs. Oh,
yeah. That we normally are usually good for putting up 6-7 runs. I think that's been our average since we've been in the league for the most part, putting that many up. And, right now we're just struggling a little bit, and hopefully we'll get that going, and we'll keep these other teams held down to the low runs, and we'll be able to get out some W's here soon.
There was a game out at Deer Park I went out and checked out for a little bit since we didn't play. I wanted to check out that new playing surface out at Deer Park. It involved the Brewers and the Dragons, and the Dragons have not won a game yet. They were ahead 8-2 when I left, but the Brewers, with a fierce comeback, they come back and win 10-8, and I think you know what's coming here, Ray.
Oh, yeah.
Brewers,
yep.
They come back and win the game, and, well, the Minister of Propaganda says this: Dearest Clovis, General Compton marched us into Deer Park with a plan to use the Dragons' hubris against them. Many brave men drew them into the open while our artillery outflanked them, and victory was ours. Say hello to your mother for me. The Minister of Propaganda.
Yep.
Doing it again. And the Brewers get their 3rd win on the season. I like how he always says hello to your mother at the end. Do they always do that on those Civil War at home letters?
I think if you ever look back and you hear some of the history and stuff, it seemed like it always was talking back to Mom. So
I guess. Now, I want to know where he comes up with these names. Dearest Clovis. He changes the name every game. So was Clovis? There's actually, I think there's an umpire in our league named Clovis, if I'm not mistaken. But maybe Clovis was a popular women's name back in the 1860s. I don't know.
Yeah, that's something where he comes up with them. He's got to have a book somewhere sitting there going through these and picking one out for each week. So it's something else.
He comes up with some crazy stuff. A couple other low-scoring games on Wednesday night, Ray. The Dodgers outlasted the Reds 2-1. That was a tight game, a walk-off win for the Dodgers out at Foundation. And kind of a surprise in the other one, the Expos. They beat the Sting 4-1. Chris Weeks with a complete game, only allowing a couple hits, struck out 8 batters. So a couple low-scoring games. We talked about this last time, Ray. It seemed like the pitchers have been ahead of hitters. But we may change that theme a little bit when we get to the Sunday games that's happened yesterday, but certainly it looked like it on Wednesday. A lot of low-scoring games.
Yeah, that's when I was sitting there looking back at the scores and stuff, and Wednesday night I was trying to catch back up. Wednesday was my last game I got to make with our team. I missed Sunday, and hopefully I'll be back for this Wednesday. But when I was looking back, I saw the low scorings. It was just kind of going with what the theme that we were talking about. The pitching is ahead, but then I picked up some of the scores on Sunday. I was like, well, that just got shot to hell.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that in a minute. You're right, Ray. I was thinking the same thing. Just as we had a good theme going there, things kind of turned the other way. A couple other scores that happened on Wednesday night. The Tigers with a big win. They go on the road up to Fenwick High School. They beat the Knights by a final score of 17-4. Rookie Jake Eby with a home run in that game. I guess that certainly would have to put him on the short list for Player of the Week. Anytime you can hit a long ball with a wood bat, you're certainly going to be on that list. And then, of course, the Meridians beating the Orioles 7-3. But I did want to touch on this game. Joe Mills with another big performance for the Meridians, 13 strikeouts in that ball game. But I think it speaks volumes about the Orioles. It's a team who went 2-30 last year. They hung right there with the Meridians, 7-3 ball game.
Yeah, they've been looking pretty good. We talked about that over the last couple of weeks and stuff, how they've been playing. So you never know. These guys, it's going to make it tough to get that run down at the end. We might be all scraping at the end to try to make that playoffs and get the top 8. So that's looking pretty good. By the way, I just wanted to ask you, is that the Knights' first run of the season, by the way?
If I'm not mistaken, I think those were their first runs of the season. Absolutely. And they scored a bunch yesterday, which we'll get to. But we talked about it last week about, maybe sacrificing a chicken or something like that. And apparently Ryan Roth must have done something there because, got off the board. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Ricky Roberts with a home run for the Knights. So off the schneid after the 3 straight shutouts. I joked with Ryan after the game. I texted him on Thursday. I said, hey, the streak is over, right? And unfortunately for them, they lost 17-4. He said, our next step is playing all 7 innings. They got run ruled. And we'll get to that here in a minute. I think they accomplished that yesterday. But, at least he has a good sense of humor about it. Pretty funny.
Well, he's got goals. So he try to meet those goals. So there's nothing wrong with that.
Baby steps. And, that's a perfect segue to get us into Sunday. As a matter of fact, they did play yesterday, and it was a 14-7 game. And I'll tell you what, I'm looking at the website here. Here's what Ryan Roth came up with. He says, manager Ryan Roth sacrifices a live chicken in lieu of the traditional bucket of KFC Extra Crispy. Bats come alive for 7-run outbreak. It says Orioles sacrificed a live emo to get 14. So, a lot of sacrificial lambs out there, unfortunately. But the Knights able to get 7 runs. But we just talked about the Orioles. How about them? Yeah. Doubling them up, 14-7.
Yeah, that's exactly it. We were just sitting there talking about that. And how about Schulte going 4 for 4 with 2 runs and 5 RBIs, and definitely looking for a possible Player of the Week there. So,
put him on the short list for sure. And a couple of his teammates, Ben Caston and Rick Stone, each with 3 hits. A lot of offense out there at Heritage Park yesterday.
Yeah, definitely shot away the thought that pitchers were doing pretty good this year. So maybe everybody took off this week.
I was going to say, we have 10 games to get to, and I think we'll successively fight each one of these, as almost all these games are in the teens. Another one of those was up at Franklin yesterday, the Dayton Braves with a 13-6 win over the Expos, and that evens the Braves record up as they're able to end that Expo 2-game winning streak. I'll tell you what the surprise of the day to me was, Ray, and there's no slight to the Mudcats, but the Bulls have been in a tremendous team the last couple of years. Scott Brothers, Rick Russell, Sauer, all those arms. Mudcats go down to Schuler and knock them off 8-5.
Yeah, I saw that. I was looking at some of the responses and stuff on some of the guys on Facebook, and with AJ and Rick Sherrick out there, and saw that they knocked them off, and I was like, whoa, somebody woke up. So like we already knew Mudcats were a good team anyway. Bulls have been playing so well, though, that is a shock that they were able to knock that one off. Who pitched for the Bulls that game? Do you know?
Scott Brothers started the game. Looked like Jeremy told me they got 4 runs in the first off of him. It was pretty tight back and forth game. Bulls came back to tie it at around 5-5, and then I think Jeremy told me they got 3 in the bottom of the 8th. And Anthony Bennett, 3 scoreless innings in relief to get the win. So A.J. Wilson, 3 hits, double, couple RBIs, a big 8th inning there for the Mudcats to pull away.
Yeah, nice job by the Mudcats, and a little shout out there to A.J.